Welcome to the Great Distraction.
Welcome back, people. This is The Great Distraction, and today the topic of discussion is general well-being. My name is Ben, and with me today are my co-hosts Joe.
Hello.
Thomas.
Hello, everybody.
And Glenn.
Howdy, folks.
If this is your first time listening, welcome. We thank you for joining us. The Great Distraction is a podcast that focuses on a vast and random range of topics, and we hope that each episode leaves you with, if nothing else, something to ponder. Right off the bat on this topic, I wanted to start off by saying our intent here is not to tell you how to live your life.
This is what you got to do now.
Yes.
Yeah. You can screw it up on your own.
Yeah, you guys go ahead and do whatever you're going to do. However, we were sitting here discussing, I don't even know how we got into the topic in the conversation, but that's kind of the way these things tend to go. And we were talking about things that we were trying to integrate into our lives or already do on a regular basis that are literally just there to improve the quality of hopefully improve the quality of our lives. I mean, well, you know, in this decade, some things are healthy, right? And then you find out the next decade, wait a minute, nah, you should have been doing that all along, dude. Now you're going to be sick. You got cancer. Thanks.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, we just thought that if nothing else, sometimes we all need a little reminder on things we already know, and it can be helpful to hear these things that we have heard before again, or from a different source, or maybe they're different things that you've never heard of before at all. It could come in either way, and well, whatever. We figured, well, if nothing else, maybe they've already heard it and they can rehear it, and it might help somebody out.
And again, like Vin was saying, we're not trying to tell people how to live their life. We
Never.
all, and I think a lot of people who are attracted to podcasts and information, sharing information, what I call the long conversation, the art of the long conversation, being humans, being, a community and stuff. We want to learn and we want to be better people. And so this is more about what we try to do to be better people on our own. And we hope that anybody who would be listening would be the same type of person.
Exactly. It's more our stuff that we strive to do. And if you find it useful, great. If you never heard about it before, try it out. If not, whatever. So, before we start going, we figured we'd kind of do this in a round robin sense. We'll have everybody throw in some tips and we'll go from there. But before we even go down that path, I wanted to say I think that for me, this type of thought process has always fallen under a general category for a pursuit of one's life that I've always felt was extremely important, and that is that each and every one should know thyself above all others and above all else. It should be in my opinion, and the way I approach my life is I'm in constant pursuit of figuring out and learning who I am, why I do the things I do, and what I can do to either better myself to whatever standards you hold yourself to, or push myself into what I hope to be someday. So I think all of us agree on.
We all agree, man.
Something along those lines.
I've known of some people in my life who, on the opposite side of that coin, they are constantly running from who they are because they don't put the time to invest the time to understand it.
Yep.
And maybe fix things that need to be repaired or mended. They'd rather, seek escape or talk poorly about others who reflect those behaviors.
Those are both,
because they just refuse to point that magnifying glass inward.
Yep, that is exactly what I was getting at there with that comment. Yes, instead of what is the term? Extrovertedly, I guess, directing that
externally.
Thank you. Externally directing that time that you're putting into it. Turn that, like you said, that magnifying glass on yourself, and make sure that you understand where you really are and why it is you really do. And
hey, man, I'm perfect. 'Cause everybody else is screwed up.
Right.
There you go.
That's that mentality. Yeah.
That's what we want to avoid. That's maybe that's even the first tip, but nevertheless, that's kind of how maybe that's how this conversation started too when we originally.
Maybe I think one thing that I see a lot of people that do that unhealthy is so many people are afraid to be alone. And, you can only learn yourself and really get to know yourself by spending some real time alone. When I have friends that break up in relationships and they're like, oh, man, I'm like, dude, this is gold time. This is gold for you. You don't have to deal with anything. You don't have to fight with anybody. You have your total own schedule. Spend some time being with you.
Yep.
Don't jump into relationships. Don't do anything crazy. Just hang out, take a road trip, go to another country. Just be you and you, because you are cool, and maybe you've forgotten that, and you should remind yourself so you can be better in general.
Yeah, and I can't even tell you how many times I've given that exact same advice.
Oh my God! And they just go, "Oh,
Anybody-
I'm dating this chick from the restaurant."
Yeah.
Anybody,
First bar
4
they
days
get
later,
to.
Yeah.
anybody who cannot stand
love.
to be
Headed
anybody
to Vegas.
who cannot stand to be alone with themselves for a length of time, there's something wrong there. That's something to work on. Figure out what it is.
When you have that time alone, you can solve some issues or make them worse.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's necessarily entirely their fault, though, because one of the things that I consider is our culture, to a degree, breeds a sense of discontent within people. And by that I mean, for example, let's say drug companies advertising their drug. Well, you're up late at night because you can't sleep. You're like, oh shit, well, I can't sleep. That applies to me. Like, wait, I have stomach problems too. Well, that applies to me too. Oh crap, I'm sick. I've got this. I got XYZ and I need to take this drug in order to feel better. And that, with news and stuff, a lot of the news is negative news, I guess, because it attracts more attention. But you hear about people getting killed in your neighborhood, and before you know it, you're putting bigger locks on your doors. So it breeds that sense of discontent, fear-mongering, where I think it's very important that each individual breed a sense of well-being within themselves.
And yeah, I completely agree. And playing off of that too, I've always felt too that if you things like social media, depending on what you look at or the type of movies that you watch, you could sit there and watch a whole bunch of romantic comedies, and it could be making you happy, but it could also be making you completely miserable because you're like, why isn't my life that happy? There's always the happy ending. Same thing with the social media. You're out there watching. Everybody posts. Well, not everybody. A lot of people post the best split seconds of their life in social media, and
right.
But as a collection of all of your friends, so you take 100 or 1,000, I don't know how many friends you have on Facebook, but you take all these split seconds of all these great times in their life or these fake pictures that they've posed for or whatever, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah, some of the most popular pages on Instagram, for example, are literally like the rich kids of Instagram or whatever, and it's of their like Maseratis and
but
yachts
I think in the long shot of that is that's making people really unhealthy. Physically, mentally, everything. It is. And going back to things to try to do to make, we have the choice. Everybody who can hear this is listening to a device, whether it's your phone or whatever. So you have a choice to be listening to these things. You're doing it. And if they're causing distress to you or you're fighting or whatever, or you're just trying to get something, done in your life, one of the best piece of advice I can give anybody who can hear my voice is to not get on the internet or social media for like every other day, or maybe go 2 days a week where you don't even check your email. How important is your email, honestly, that you have to check it every 45 minutes?
Hey, man, I got to keep up with those junk mails. They got to be deleted.
Yeah, well, depending upon your job, it might.
Well, but that's only at work, though.
Yeah, we're not talking
when you're outside of your work, And to be the healthy thing, I think right now what a lot of us need to do to be healthy is freaking relax, chill out, take a breath. We are all shoved at this pace where we're trying to run for death. Well, I don't know what the accomplishment is, having more stuff and dying faster, or what the goal is, but we're only here for a really, really short period of time, and I wish everybody would just let some things slide. You're in control of maybe 5 to 15% of the things that happen in your life and in your world. So you're going to have to figure out a way of coping with the rest of it, and a lot of it you can just let it go by you and not be involved.
Yep,
that's definitely something that I learned at I guess my late 20s. Is the difference between literally white knuckling the wheel
exactly
and just kind of letting it glide, and just a little adjustment here and there. You're putting out less effort, you're getting more of an effect,
right.
And it's much less detriment to your mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, we're all in a hurry to get to a red light.
Yeah, and to fight with people.
I know how to drive.
And just the whole, I think it's one of the things that's making us really unhealthy right now that we really should address is the fact that we're all turning into these machines that are just go, grind, and it's wearing us to pieces, I mean, people are, I'm at an age in my life where sometimes, that was 6 months ago, no, that was 4 years ago, those things are happening, and so, we have such a short period of time to get so mad and involved in all these other things that aren't part of your your being, your soul, your you, and the immediate people around you, they need more energy than all these other, distractions that you have.
I think a part of well-being, the term, what it means to me, is taking the time to do good for yourself, whether it's a practice like yoga, which hit home for me, or cooking good, clean, sourced meals. Instead of going and getting fast food crap, you're taking the time, and by doing that, you're practicing things, but you're also practicing investing in the care of yourself, self-love.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, we talked about that before, where, all of us eat in our cars, at a drive-through, or leaving the drive-through, or going to the drive-through to get more drive-through to leave to eat more drive-through. But we're not cooking or doing anything. And my recent trip to Europe, that's one of the things that would really hit home with me is, at a certain point in the day, people are like, man, just chill, watch the sunset, have a drink. You made it today. You're done. Whatever you've already been awake for 12 to 14 hours probably at this point. You've lived a day. It's time for you time.
Definitely taking it slow, taking a step back. That's got to be on the list there. Another one I wanted to bring up right off the bat that for me has been big when I get into doing it. It's one of those totally self-detrimental things. It is exercising. When I don't exercise,
exercising sounds dangerous to me.
Well, okay, yeah. Well, let me start off by saying when I don't exercise, I feel terrible. I don't feel good. I don't feel energetic, and so I don't want to exercise because I'm not feeling good. And it's like I sit there, and I know the reason that I am feeling this way. It's
why
because,
am I so fat as I shovel the ice cream in my mouth?
Exactly. It's like
watching Oprah.
I feel you feel lethargic, you feel depression, you feel unhappy. It's all connected to this simple, stupid thing.
There's something I'd like to say about that as well. The idea, I think the concept of exercise for people is like a bold word that, sometimes they don't enjoy what it is. And, it's like one of their least favorite activities, let's say. So if you find something that you really enjoy doing, then it makes it much easier. And it doesn't have to be necessarily it doesn't have to fall under the umbrella of exercise. It could literally just be moving the body.
It's play.
Make
it fun. You don't have to sit on a treadmill and stare at a wall and do something that bores you. Go out for a walk.
Play racquetball or run or ride a bicycle,
yoga. Those are totally valid points, but for me, it is something I don't like. And unfortunately, the stuff that I do as far as exercise makes me feel so much better that it's actually a decent trade-off. I don't care. It's kind of like I don't like mowing a lawn
But you don't
either,
like the actual process of exercising?
No, not really. And specifically,
you're more of a sitter, aren't you, Ben?
Specifically, what I focus on is I never wanted to be a beefcake or anything ridiculous like that. So I don't do very little. No weightlifting, nothing along those lines. Just very little. Mostly, I focus on cardio, and for me that seems to be the most important. That seems to not only get breathing better and get heart rate up and working, but on top of that, I find that I am able to think faster, come up with solutions to problems.
Gets those endorphins flowing.
Yeah,
right.
I am.
You're dumping a lot more oxygen through your blood as well.
Yeah, and not necessarily
cleaning out the old stuff.
Yeah, not necessarily just when I'm doing it either. It's a long term.
It stimulates your mental processes.
Yes, and for whatever it's worth, what I strive to work up to, I pretty much only work on an elliptical. I don't like treadmills; they feel weird. And I strive for 30 minutes straight with your heart rate at roughly 20% of whatever your peak is, and I do that for 30 minutes sustained as many days a week as I can when I'm regularly working out. Now, I haven't regularly worked out in a long time, but...
Yeah, but I bet you'd really enjoy maybe like riding a bicycle, too.
I would, and that is definitely a hobby I want to get into.
I know we got on those jump bikes the other night. Now, granted, we had a few drinks in us. Your face lit up like a goddamn Christmas tree.
It was fun.
It was like a 12-year-old.
It was like a 12-year-old on Christmas
morning. It was fun. I thought for sure I was going to eat shit and die, but...
Hey, we can always throw on some gloves and have some fun.
Oh,
so, I mean, there's a plethora of other things, too.
Absolutely.
Like, what about rowing? Like, what if you got into like a canoe and tried rowing down,
Yeah, have you ever thought about going to Yale?
on crew. No, oh
You
yes,
get a kayak and
Yeah,
do
the
it right
rowing
here.
too.
Dude,
Yes, matter of fact,
paddleboarding is
Paddleboarding's
freaking
fun.
fun.
Paddleboarding's a lot of fun.
When I went camping with Rick and his family a couple of weeks ago, they brought a kayak out there, and that was
Oh,
the
yeah.
first
They're
time.
great.
Or it was a canoe. I'm sorry, because it was multiple kayaks,
okay.
one person, anyway, it was
Yes,
a canoe.
Could be multiple. Different type
Yeah,
of boat.
but this was a canoe. I'm sorry, I get the two confused because I'm not into so much into the water stuff. But anyway, so him and I went out
Could
there.
have
We
been
went
a
out
dolphin.
to. It could have been a big woman. I don't know.
Whoa.
Whoa. Anyway, so yeah, him and I rode out to this little island. And that was the middle. Man, that was pretty fun. Actually,
Dude, they're great. I've had
Yeah.
some, quite a few day trips out to
Canoeing.
Yeah, you canoe into like a little island, and you just pop off your cooler, put up your music, set up
Yeah.
your chairs.
And you could fit
whatever
a bunch of
bring.
stuff in those
Yeah.
canoes
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I mean, I easily could have brought an ice chest and a whole bunch of stuff and an
Yeah.
awning and,
and
stuff.
it puts you into nature.
Yeah.
You're out somewhere, you're breathing, you're doing things. And when you're out like hiking or moving or doing an activity like that, if you don't like the standard exercise thing, I'm with you. I hate that whole thing. I'm lifting
but
weights.
I feel so much better. That's
yeah,
the
I know,
thing.
but the thing is, it's the motion and using your body and
Yes.
and
Strain.
bringing your heart rate up and getting new oxygen
Yeah.
into your blood. So,
So
if
what
you
if-
can do other things to do that,
There is something also about being outside.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
surrounding yourself with the natural world that is lifting to your spirit.
Right.
There is
the
something
sunshine.
totally the fresh air, the
Yeah, that's that, and that I will agree with you. However, me working out or doing anything cardio related outdoors, I am allergic to pretty much everything. So I end up messed up with a cough.
Dude, you're
or
just
sore
stuck on a
throat
treadmill.
and,
You're just gonna have to live
I
with a
hate treadmills, but
treadmill.
anyway,
We've gone hiking before, and hiking's another good one too. Go
yeah,
camping
hiking,
and hiking.
absolutely. Yeah, if you're into that stuff, a lot of people can't get away to do stuff though. So that's why I push the okay. You have kids, maybe you guys aren't camping. It's just life is too busy. You got too much other crap filling it up. So what I look for is things that take a minimum amount of time. I understand there's a lot of parents out there. There's a lot of busy people, a lot of super successful and very career-oriented individuals. You simply don't have an hour or two to put into working out. And that's why I have, and for me, that was motivated because out of pure freaking laziness. But I broke it down to the bare minimum of what I felt I needed. And for me, it was, like I said, that half hour of cardio plus another half hour to shower and get back out of the gym or whatever. So you're an hour total there at most. If you can do cardio at home, great. And then the other thing is every morning I do daily stretches for my legs, my back, whatever. And along with that, I do some lower back exercises, which are like very, very quick stuff, guys. But I mean, it keeps my back from ever hurting. And I sit all day long for a living. And I know if I stop doing those lower back exercises for a couple of weeks, my back starts hurting when I wake up in the morning, and it sucks. And sometimes I can't even like lift myself to get out of bed. I have to roll out of bed, and it's like all because I stopped doing those things.
Yep, you should do yoga, man.
I
another real good one is Tai Chi.
Yes, I've seen people do that, and I'm like, wow, that's really because
It
you're
is amazing.
So
for
I
you.
wonder the benefits of Tai Chi versus yoga, and like they seem to me like they kind of hit the
Yoga
same.
builds strength
Okay.
more than Tai Chi does.
Core strength.
Right.
strength.
Yoga is more focused on holding a form, holding
Stability.
a pose. It's building strength. You're developing your core. Very, very positive in that fashion. Tai Chi is more focusing on the flow of your body and fluid movement. You step slow, you step controlled, you making all your movements one fluid motion. And
It's also it's like also meditative as
totally.
well. Too,
Well,
right?
you're,
So
you're
that-
focusing on moving energy through your
Yes.
body, and
that's very important. Meditation is definitely something everyone should explore.
That kind of touches on two of my points, actually. But I mean, the first I wanted to bring up is about yoga and something in Tai Chi. I think there's really something to be said for, as a human being, humbling yourself before a practice.
Oh, yeah.
And I think as people get on in their years, they start to know everything. I got that figured out. You're not going to show me anything new. But there's something so positive to being in an environment where you are ignorant, for, I guess, lack of a better word, and you're there to learn, whether it be observationally or, tactically. You're there to learn a practice, and you humble yourself before it.
Yep.
And that's something that applies to my hobbies too, like glass, for sure.
Yep.
oh, absolutely.
I'll make that statement a little more broader too, because that was one of the ones on my list was never stop learning. Another tip
Yeah.
for better living: just never, ever, ever stop learning.
Well,
Always.
You'll stop learning the day you die.
That's it. Well, I mean, yes, you're right, but I mean,
Some people stop at about 13,
Right.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
yeah, right.
I mean,
And you can see it written all over their face.
right?
Oh man, I mean, make it a point to go out, and if you feel that you have saturated a hobby that you're into, or maybe some hobbies really don't have that much depth, or some practices don't have that much depth, find something new, something completely different, and do whatever it is, it keeps your brain thinking. It keeps you, like you said, humbling yourself. So you're constantly starting over. That's the ups and downs of I know enough, or I know a lot about this. Now I got to start over and go all the way back down and start working myself up. That stuff gives mental purpose and drive to life, and it just helps a lot.
That's something I really enjoyed about going to college, actually.
Yeah. Well, I think something that we all touch on when we have private conversations is to be humble of the life that you have. And I think that's something that we all should do. A lot of us are so, like, again, going back to and so wrapped up. We're not really in touch with our souls, our planet, or any. We're not natural creatures anymore. We're becoming these little cogs or whatever. But humbling, I think, is one of the steps towards recognizing your own mortality. And I think that to be happy for a lot of people have a lot of weird issues. Like, a lot of people are scared to death to die. And I think that the understanding that here's what I did a long time ago. A long time ago, I realized, A, I'm lucky I'm breathing. Okay? We all recognize we're lucky we're breathing. Say that to yourself. B, you're not homeless. You're doing something. Even if you're going to work, it's your job that you have to help provide for your life. So you're doing something. So there's a lot of things going on, and in our time, I mean, we all know people who have passed away as young people. I've had lost friends when I was 16, 18 years old. Life is very fragile, and I think humbling to me is one of the things that really brings me back to reality a lot, is to just look at what's going on, look at what I have, look at the fact that I'm still breathing, I have shoes on my feet. Let's cover the basics here, folks. We are some lucky individuals, and I think allowing yourself to just chill out and know that there's something else going on in this universe, that we are just parts of a very fun ride. We're here for such a long period of time, or such a short period of time, that we act like this is everything in the world. We're just here for a little bleep moment of Earth's history. So we're just leaving little marks. We're just part of the process. And having crafts, and we've talked about this before, having things that you do, that's a craft, that's something that you're making, you're putting into the world, and that's what you're doing. That's your time, your moment, whatever it is you're doing. But to be humble, to understand that this is so fragile and that you need to just relax. Everything's going to be, what sucks today won't suck tomorrow. There'll be something else to suck. So don't worry about what sucks.
Yeah, definitely. Man, you said a whole lot there. I wanted to say something about along the lines of because you kind of made me feel like you were talking more like about how primitive our existence is, and that's one of the reasons I thought exercise was so important. Is that as far as we feel we've modernized ourselves and evolved and whatever, we still are in these bodies that need the old.
We're still a fragile little creature in the universe, and I think that we have this inflated view of ourselves that makes us want to run and chase and own and destroy and more and bigger, and we're just giant consumers.
Damn that ego.
Damn it. And the reality is, no matter who you are, I learned this at a very early age, no matter who you are, no matter how famous you are, how rich you are, when you die, you know what happens tomorrow? The same thing. Just you're not here. How important are you at that point?
Yeah.
We all die. We're all just here for now. So just chill out and accept the fact that we are just blessed to be breathing as a species.
Right. I think, too, when you start to let that concept settle in and apply it on a daily basis, for me personally, it actively minimized my perceived problems. And like you were saying, you can make them so big. I was always told growing up, you can't see the forest for the trees. And so being able to step away and minimize all that made everything just so much more easy to best.
Yeah. Oh, what's really important?
Keep things in perspective.
Yeah, there you go. Perspective. Ooh,
That's right.
perspective.
Is everything. Perspective is everything.
Is that where a lady puts her stuff?
Well, I mean, really, it's how we view our world. Everything that happens, every event, everything that you think is bad or wrong, it's only an opinion that we form based on a reaction of an experience.
It's the
Yet
reality.
it shapes everything from there on out.
It does.
Yeah.
But to recognize that it is a perception of an event, and then to be able to step back and look at how you are actively interpreting something, to analyze that process, you can redirect your energies or your focus and choose to react in a different manner.
Realign that chi, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm saying. That goes back to our argument with nature and just being a little bit more, clean. And that's the thing too. I hear people say, "Oh, I can't exercise." Well, you know what you can do? You can not smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
You can not drink a bunch of alcohol. You can not eat a bunch of bad foods.
Yep.
That'll help you too.
All right.
Yeah. And while you're having all these deep introspective thoughts, don't forget that your body is still a primitive being. It needs exercise. It needs to be worked. It needs to be fueled.
A machine.
That's right. It needs to be fueled with good quality fuel.
What happens if you leave your car in the garage for years?
Won't run.
Won't run.
The seals go bad. The
it.
gas coagulates.
Yep.
It breaks down. The rubber rots. If you're not actively using it, it's going to fail.
Yep. So I wanted to lead that into that with just in general eating healthier. Now, how you do that? Well, there's a million different things you can do. How much you do of that, that's up to you. But
Make your own food.
well,
yeah, that's the
that's
biggest
the
one.
biggest
Cook
one.
your own food. Yeah.
yeah.
If you can grab raw ingredients, base ingredients, and build everything from there, you're going to be a lot better
If you
off.
cook your own food, you have 100% guarantee that nobody spit in it.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey.
That's true. So my general rule set for trying to eat healthy, now of course I eat hamburgers and everything else like on a regular basis, but nevertheless I do try and incorporate some of these rules.
Piece
here.
of lettuce.
A piece of my general
In his burger.
Yeah, in my burger, and a tomato too. Hey man, come on. Might even be an onion or two in there, a slice of an onion. Your general rule sets, you've all heard it before, and that's the same stuff that I try and tell myself every day is cut the fat, cut the sugar, cut the salt, stay away from processed foods, try to eliminate dependencies, and this is pretty much
Especially soda.
let's go with the sugar, right? High
Yeah,
sugar.
that's my number one thing. If I could give anybody advice on being healthier, don't drink soda.
Cut high fructose corn
look
syrup.
at the ingredients list on what you're eating.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you can't pronounce something that's in an ingredient,
It must
you
be good.
Probably shouldn't be eating it.
That's right. That's how I do it.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Eliminate dependencies. I wanted to expand on that a little bit. So many people in this country, especially, are addicted to sugar. Everything that you eat has something or drink has some high sugar content in it. And most of the time, it's one of the worst kinds of sugar, which is that high fructose corn syrup stuff. It's just something you want to figure out and actively and be more active in paying attention to, eliminating and not putting into your body. Another huge one, and I hate that I hate saying this because nobody ever likes hearing it, but you talk to your general doctor and just ask your doctor, ask any doctor, is caffeine good for me?
Yes.
It is not.
It is good for me.
Terrible, terrible stuff. It is a drug.
It is
an
absolutely a
addictive
drug.
When people go through withdrawals when they stop taking it. So, okay, I understand you need something to get up and go in the morning. Well, here's the thing. Maybe you partially need that because you have become addicted to needing that. Your
That's a
body.
specific thing.
Yeah.
Yes, you might be lacking sleep if you're needing a artificial stimulant. Well, not necessarily artificial, but a stimulant to get yourself up and moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to what I always say about water. If you can do, one thing that you can do every single day that will make you tremendously healthier is drink water.
Yep.
Don't drink sodas, drink water. And another thing too, like easy things like drinking water before you go to bed is good for your body.
Yeah.
Drinking
Except you
a
have to
glass.
wake up and pee in the middle of the night, which sucks.
And I don't.
I do.
Lots of people don't. Maybe you got some other problem going on. You can go to a doctor. When's the last time you were at a doctor? Go to your doctor more often, Ben.
Every 6 months.
But drinking water in the morning too, a glass of water, and then those are basic things. You wake up, if you're going to brush your teeth, I know I do. Rinse
Actually,
your mouth, but drink a glass of water.
Now that you mentioned that, that is kind of and I've talked to I've mentioned this to a number of people, and they've always seemed kind of shocked. So maybe that's worth laying down here. I don't know if everybody's general doctor will do this or whatever, and I don't think mine's anything special. But I go
The finger. The
finger.
finger in the ass. I've had that before too.
Turn your head and cough.
oh man, yeah, well that too. But no, I actually have blood work done every 6 months, and I go see my doctor, and we go over the numbers every 6 months real quick. Just it's a great way to monitor, and I have him run.
Some nice preventive health you got going on there.
I mean, well, it's
nice.
all covered. It's all you do is pay
I
your
would do that too
co-payment.
if I could.
So he gives me a long carbon copy sheet of all the things that they're going to pull blood for, and it's checking minerals like potassium, magnesium, whatever. It's checking vitamin levels. It checks all of your things for like cholesterol. I mean, there's a whole battery of things that you can have them check. And the reason I got into it is because I started trying to change the food that I was intaking and incorporate more fruits, more vegetables, and more nuts. These nuts.
Eat those nuts.
Yes. Very good for lowering cholesterol and other stuff. And they're extremely
other things
filling.
they're low in too.
Yeah. So I actually go. As a matter of fact, next week I think is my next one or whatever. And yeah, I go in. I give a couple of vials of blood. I think I don't know. It depends on your insurance. For me, it only costs like $15-$20 or whatever. Depending on that's going to be dependent on your copay or whatever. But I find it invaluable. And the really cool part of recent times, the particular blood company that I get my blood work done puts it all on a website on my account, so I can pull up all of my numbers simultaneous or at any time, and it shows trending. So it'll show me from like the first
This week, Ben's liver is having a party.
Exactly. And then the other cool thing is, depending on how sexually active you are, I do it about once a year. I have them run the battery of STDs, which is kind of an interesting dating aspect. You're like, look, babe, I got proof right here.
Wow.
It's in it's just one of those, it doesn't cost any extra to add that on there. So it's like, what the hell? Just check the boxes and you can, check.
So how much blood do they take each time?
Oh,
Gallons.
Man, that's what sucks. Yeah, it's like, it's only just like, I think
4
6
quarts.
vials. No, it's like 6 vials. It's not that bad.
6 vials?
The vials are like 3-4 inches tall
Ugh.
by like,
That's a lot of blood.
it's not that much.
They give you a cookie afterwards, then get your
No,
blood sugar back up.
they take way more when you give blood. So that's not even close to what they
Well,
take.
if you're
when you're
giving,
blood.
they're taking.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, one thing that Thomas mentioned earlier was brushing your teeth and
Personal hygiene.
Since I was a little kid, I always heard brush and floss.
Yeah.
So it always translated to brush your teeth then floss. I was at the dentist just recently, and they're like, "You need to floss then brush," and that was like, "Oh, that makes sense."
Not grinding it in.
Right.
Wait, why?
You're not grinding the food into your. If you brush when you're
So you floss to break up the plaque buildup in between your teeth, and
Yeah.
then you brush to remove it. If you brush first, you're missing the stuff in between, and then you're just packing it into your gums.
Interesting. I'll have to look into that. I like that. That's
So
you might
that
be right.
that
about
was,
that.
uh,
I never thought
and
about
if you
that
can
one.
only do one of those two, floss.
Right.
Really,
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah. Any hygienist will tell you
dude,
that.
that grit though. You get that grit on your teeth, and it annoys the heck out of me.
Well, that's why you bend the floss around your tooth, and you get the full tooth.
Okay, I can see that. Interesting.
You shove your shirt in your mouth and
Yeah,
yeah, there you go.
Use your finger.
yeah,
Nice. Back to the finger thing, right?
back to the finger thing.
This is sick.
Apparently, the finger makes you happy and
man.
gives you a good life.
Ben really likes the finger.
Yeah,
Whether you point it, suck it, lick
Oh.
it, it's the finger.
it's the finger. Give him the finger. All things in moderation.
Even moderation.
Even moderation. That's one thing. That's a general rule I try to live by. It doesn't matter what it is: watching TV, playing video games,
Social
jerking
media.
off, social media, podcasting. Why do you think we only do this once a week?
I got a little caveat of that. I think for people who have like obsessive minds or semi-obsessive or intrusive thoughts or things like that, it's important to be aware what you obsess over. And that made me, what you said, somebody who like obsessively playing video games or something, or obsessively watching TV, be aware of your behaviors and,
That's why I
critique them.
started off with know
Yeah.
thyself. I mean,
Yeah.
that was
Self-awareness.
Yeah, and know that many things that we do out of moderation actually become quite a detriment when you do things too much. That's why it's do things when all the things in moderation, because too much of anything messes you up, man. It doesn't matter what it is. Too much exercise, too much sex, too much anything messes
Anything
you
can
up.
become habit forming. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then too, sometimes those habits are lead into other things, like maybe they cause you to do other physical activities that aren't healthy for you, or just a
Or
gambit of the other things.
Neglect other aspects of your life to
Like
focus
your health
on.
or something.
Right.
Yeah, you have
Absolutely.
to sacrifice the time to do something else, right? Like I don't have any time to exercise because I'm too busy playing WoW. Don't judge me.
Right. You have no social life because
I'm too busy sitting in the drive-thru at McDonald's
Yeah.
to exercise.
Ugh, I can't even remember the last time I was in a drive-through, dude. Like, that's
So one of the ones I'd like to bring up that really was critical for me growing up is be okay going against the grain.
Yeah.
And for a long time, that created a lot of discontent within me because I was just doing what everybody else was doing. And there, became this breakaway point where that was no longer the main course. And it had a big impact. And, of course, there was side effects of that. And one of them was becoming comfortable being uncomfortable. And, you start to get used. The more you expose yourselves outside, as a human being, outside your bubble of comfort, your area of comfort, and exist out there and try new things, all of a sudden new doors start opening and you just become overall more comfortable, just feeling a little bit weird,
Self-confidence. Too.
Yeah.
You're building your self-confidence.
Yep.
It also expands your horizons.
Totally. Shows you new things. Those were very critical for me growing up, still are.
One thing that I used to say when I was growing up, because I very much can relate to what Joe was just saying there. I like to be outside the box. When I get into a social situation, I'm the first one to say, "Hi, how's it going?" to a complete stranger, just to break the ice, have fun, get out there. And
that was a little aggressive, though, Glenn. That actually scared me. I think I might have solved some problem for you.
I'm sorry.
It's a high pucker factor for you, buddy.
But I would say, normal is a setting on a dryer. There is no normal. There is no.
But I'm with you, though. I go out of my way a lot of times to say, hey, how's it going? Or hi, or open a door. I think that we could be better humans if we just look to see if there was anybody getting ready to walk through the door. We just walk through so we don't slam it in their face.
I do that every day, and I can't. It always throws me off when people don't even look behind them and like, dude, that was like 2 feet behind you.
Right. I wait for people that are 5 and 8 feet back.
Me too.
Yeah. So especially if they're older people, or just pay attention. Somebody might be carrying a baby or something. You got to be the next person in line at TGI Fridays. Give it up,
could
dude.
be a beautiful girl.
Hey, I'll run ahead just to open the door for somebody.
Right.
Yeah, I've done that too. Yep.
Makes everybody's day.
Don't be
when people are
afraid to be
happy.
yourself. That's
or go against the grain.
Or
I like it.
Yeah. Even if being yourself is going against the grain, right?
Hey.
Well, I think it probably is, no matter what. If you're truly being yourself.
One other thing that we can do to kind of enrich our lives is to find a hobby.
That was, dude. I was just gonna say that one. Produce something.
Find something that you can focus your energy, your time into that helps you be.
Well, we know you can't handle being alone, so find a hobby. Jackass.
Well, I mean, whether you have pets, you raise fish, or blow glass, or
I can't even begin to. It'll take me. I could speak for hours on how glass has improved my life and the practice of it. And one of the things that comes to mind right off the bat is don't be afraid of failure. You want to make anything cool in glass?
Oh, you are going to
fail a lot of times, and that also lends itself to life, daily life for me as well. Because failure really is the best teacher. If you just try something once and you have success, then you know that route and you know how to try and emulate it. But failing will teach you give you a more complex, perspective of the process overall and how you can overcome it.
But it'll also humble you too.
Absolutely. And then when you get past those failures, finishing it will give you unimaginable levels of self-confidence and pride, and
there's a whole process involved, and there's stages. It includes stages. I think the final stage of the completed project that you just mentioned is super important because it's putting something out into the world, and that had a big impact on me with glass. Is creating something. There's it's a hollow vessel or solid form that I created from scratch. Mm-hmm. And to be able to pick it apart and study it is worth its weight in gold. And it's also a lot like a musician playing a song. The musician puts out an audible tones for people to enjoy and appreciate. But if you make things like that, you're putting out a physical form. for people to appreciate.
Yeah, that's exactly why we're doing what we're doing right now, gentlemen. That was the first.
Creating
I had
something.
been searching inside, internally and externally, trying to find something that we could, or that I personally, I didn't think it was going to involve anyone else in the beginning, but it was like I got to put something out into the ether. I've never tried that. I've never, throw caution in the wind and give it a shot. And this is, I don't know how, I don't really remember exactly how it all played out, but it grew into this and then grew in with more people. And
Yeah, practicing that gave me a real sense of purpose. And
Yeah.
that's,
And
that's why I'm here.
Yeah, and for me, and being an artist, and Joe and I have talked about this. We've all talked about this, but having something that you're passionate about or control. But I realize a lot of people aren't that way. So anytime I hear somebody say something like that, I'm gonna say, well, if you have spare time, do something nice for somebody else. Volunteer or something.
I have a lot of people too that say when they're like, oh, I wish I was an artist. I wish I could draw. I wish I could paint. And it's like, well, growing up, I couldn't really draw very well, and I couldn't really paint. So maybe it's just that you haven't been exposed to your medium yet.
Yeah, so
Keep
keep
looking.
trying a lot of different things, and don't invest tons of money in in something you don't think you may never do or like at all. But I mean, there's so many ways to get
Express
into
yourself.
cheap, to get into inexpensive things to craft with or build, or I mean, man,
Or just start singing. I mean,
Yeah,
even if you can't do it really well,
Try
you'll
playing
feel
try playing
better.
a really bad guitar.
Yeah.
yeah, really,
Any of it, seriously.
yeah, get a cheap instrument. Yeah, that was one of the things on my list. Get a cheap instrument, or go hang out in a Hobby Lobby or a Michael's or something. Find a craft there. I mean, glue popsicle sticks together, dude. It's actually fun.
Go to open mic nights.
Yeah, there you go. Try your hand at comedy or just anything that gives you something else to do in life that isn't your job.
Yeah, but and too, I am a big believer in if you have time to do for something like that, there's got to be somebody. Everybody has somebody in their life that they could probably help out a little bit. Whether it's you go over one day a week with your parents, or somebody's elderly or something, or somebody's been hurt, a friend or something. Everybody knows somebody that would appreciate an hour of your time just to hang out and help you do something.
Yeah.
And
Retirement homes, I know, will take
absolutely.
volunteers to help out and just to entertain or just help out.
When
or
I was in Boy Scouts, Ben,
you were a Boy Scout?
I was a Boy Scout,
my
and one of the things
Did you have dreads?
No, I didn't. I would have been Dread Scout. But we would have to go to elderly homes and just sit and hang out and talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I had conversation with a couple of dudes that were like these pilots and stuff.
Oh, they're
and
hella, dude. They
they
were just like
awesome.
us, dude.
They were awesome.
They have stories just like we do. And we're going to
Yeah.
be those people
Some
someday.
of the greatest conversations of my life.
I believe it.
That kind of lends a hand to one of my points that I'd like to table. Spend quality time with friends and lovers. You know, spend that time, have that conversation. Just that's like the peak. That's like the stimulation of life.
Yeah, I had be social and many different manners of that. Maintain your friendships, go out dating, randomly talk to another person at the bar with you. Just
You find those good people, though,
Yeah.
And when you find them for you, keep them around.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is we are social creatures. No matter how you break it down, we are social animals. And if you deny yourself that, it'll go the same route as denying yourself exercise or eating healthy. It will detriment and degrade yourself, and you'll
Just wither up and die,
You
man.
will just wither up and die, dude.
Yeah,
There's
definitely
no hope.
force yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's how you learn.
But it's not comfortable.
No, but
Right.
that's how we expose ourselves to new things, right? I mean, we kind of continue moving forward and continue learning about all kinds of new shit you can do. I mean, it's we
Definitely.
Definitely.
touched a little bit on meditation, but I wanted to say my little blurb about it. And what's important for me about that practice is silencing external voices to listen internally.
Absolutely.
And whether it's, could be intrusive thoughts, it could be people, family telling you stuff that, they believe to be accurate for you. It could just be media, raping your ears.
Yeah.
Just
The great
get
distractions.
It all up. Get great distractions.
Eliminate
yeah.
the great distractions for a bit, and
Quiet the mind.
that's right. Yeah. That whole I haven't delved too deep into meditation, but from the time I have spent playing with it and trying to learn more about it, that is.
I can't believe nobody spoke up for that.
How much time do you spend playing with it?
Nice, guys. Wait, I was on to something there. You had to mess me all up with it. Clever.
Seriously, no one was going to grab that.
Oh, I was thinking about it.
Man, all things in moderation.
I Oh, you got to joke and have fun with your friends, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is our we talk about. This is my socializing right here, man. Love you guys. This is my socializing.
Well, I mean, we came together. We'd always have great conversations, just talking. And
I don't want to come together. Damn,
yeah.
See, now you got
Not
me.
what
in
you
the,
said last
now
night,
you got me in
man.
the gutter, dude. Now you got me in the gutter. That's terrible. Stop it, Glenn. It's all you.
You know
man.
you like it.
What the heck was I talking about anyway? Now.
Meditation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you.
See, we were listening.
I wasn't even listening. You messed me all up. Okay, yeah. From the experience I do have with it so far, just trying to clear your mind for 5 minutes, like is ridiculous. And when I first started playing with it, the one of the first things. Damn it!
We're
Glenn.
right back.
Damn it, Glenn.
Like he's like somebody drew the directions on the wall.
Right?
Whatever. Shut up. When I first started I can't even think of it.
When you first started experimenting.
Oh man, it was hard to maintain focus and truly tune out all of the distractions and the questions and the thoughts in my head, like thinking, oh, I got to get this done, I got to worry about this, or it was really hard to tune all that stuff out.
It will always be, I think, but it's a muscle like anything else.
It seems to be getting better the more I
Yeah.
play with it. I can shut down all the. God damn it! All right, we're done with that one. Moving on. Music. That was one of the ones that I. Thomas's face, dude. Keeping music in your life was one of the things I thought was extremely important.
very life enriching.
Yeah, and even if it's just listening to it, I mean, it surprises the heck out. Music is an extremely important part of my life, and there is always
Participating in music
is a whole nother level.
Listening to music is fantastic. I love it. But going through school, I did choir from like junior
I was in
high
band.
all the way through high school.
Yeah, I was in band.
And being a part of performing or just
Learning an instrument, yes. Generating or producing music, totally different level. But I've been surprised how many people in the course of my life that I've met that don't even listen to me. They're just not really into it. It's like, dude, we'll find.
Doesn't that kind of freak you out?
freaks
when
me out
people
big
say
time?
That?
Freaks me out big
They're
time.
like, how can you?
It's like people tell me they don't like movies. Like, what the? How could
Yeah.
you like?
I can get not liking movies.
I mean, but there's got to be some kind of movies you like. I mean, it's like those are the stories of our time. Those are the campfire stories, of our tribe and our group or whatever. And that is how our culture. Because I mean, think about all the movies. Well, most people. All the movies that they watch are American movies. That is our people, for better or worse, telling our stories or stories that are capable of our time.
You realize that's all fiction, right?
Well, yes, but it's still a story. How many when they were telling
know.
stories,
Fuck with
they
it.
got passed generation to generation? How much of them were real? At that point when they were
Probably nothing.
When they were 300 years old, I mean, yeah, the stories, so and so didn't jump off the thing and live and whatever, and fly, and now he's a bird and you're a god we honor or something crazy like that. I mean, come on. That's how all human stories have been. Humans have always been gifted with imagination and gab and those things, produce those ancient stories that we pass through. I think that their movies are our modern story. When I hear somebody say they're not going to get into movies, like that blows me away. But music is like freaking primitive, innate stuff, man. I mean,
well, it's a rhythm. There's a motion. There's
An energy.
absolutely.
There is some drive there that is so deep within us.
It's super primal.
Yeah.
Music is super primal. That's why beats and simple beats and drum beats. I mean, almost anybody hears something will generally start to move around. So I don't know.
Yeah, even if you can't move to the beat, it doesn't
Exactly.
matter. You still want to be involved in that energy that's coming from the sounds. And so anyway, I'm a huge proponent of do something with music. It doesn't matter what you do. Listen to it, make it, learn an instrument, whatever. To me, that's always been a huge part of my life. Sleep.
What's
Oh,
that?
Yeah, that's what everybody says, man. Especially when we're
Not me.
younger and working. Really,
I sleep as much as I can.
Yeah, it's because you kind of but you kind of have a lifestyle where you kind of make your own hours, so to speak, too. Not every day, but a lot of the
every day.
days, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody has that situation. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning every morning just to make it to work on time because there's so much damn traffic and whatever. And then at the same time, when I come home, yeah, I want to stay up and do something, or if I'm working on something, or if we're playing, like Joe and a couple of our buddies will play games online, like, once a month if we can get the guys together when they're not busy or whatever. And, that's going to keep you up till like 10 at night, or maybe I'm watching a movie and it doesn't, oh, damn, this movie's hell long, but I didn't mean to commit to this much time, but I'm still staying up, right? Nevertheless, yeah, it's super hard to get to bed early, so we all live off of nothing. Last night I crashed and I went to bed at 5:45 p.m. and I didn't wake up until my alarm at 4:30
a.m.
So a.m. So I'm like 11 hours or something like that. That happens to me on a regular basis because I just can't stay awake anymore.
That ties right into our go
Right.
culture.
I know.
Yeah.
So it's hard, and that one I'm not even trying to give anyone advice on how to do that. I mean, I would never do. For some people it's just damn impossible. If you have a family, you have kids, you're running around all over the place, you have a job. I mean, I don't know how the hell you do that.
Get more
period.
sleep.
Yeah, I don't know how you, let alone get sleep. That's why I don't have those things.
Right.
But nevertheless, yeah. I mean, some people's lives are just too busy.
You build a device with a timer that just hits you on the head and knocks you out,
And knocks you out,
at a
yeah.
specific time every day. Okay?
Yeah, okay, and so, but going along that line, stay away from pharmaceuticals to be going to sleep.
That's not
that stuff. Even natural things like melatonin. If you're using it all the time, that's not good. Your body will stop producing it on its own. You'll actually make it harder for yourself to fall asleep later without it. That said, again, all things in moderation. Maybe once every couple of months, I'll take a melatonin pill and it'll knock me the hell out, and I'll be sleeping for, I'll do my 10 to 12 hour sleep or whatever. And then I will add this too, if you do some of your own research on that, alcohol and weed does not actually improve the quality of sleep. Those can help you fall asleep, but most of the time they will ruin the quality of sleep, and you'll end up waking up in the middle of the night, or you don't reach the lower depths of sleep, or the sleep isn't as restful. And you can do your own personal research on that. But those things,
You don't get the full REM cycle.
yeah, exactly. It keeps you away from it. And I mean, and as far as weed goes, I mean, any weed smoke will tell you about the dreams,
Or the lack thereof.
the lack thereof dreams, which that's got to have some effects on the quality of sleep. And especially when your body is hungry for it and you stop smoking and then start having massive dreams. It's like, obviously you've been building up some crap in your head, and now your brain needs to do this. So anyway, substances are not good for getting sleep. You got to find a way to fall asleep naturally, and yeah, good luck.
Meditation is actually
Calming the
pretty
mind,
good for that.
staying away from anything that throws off the blue wavelengths.
Right.
Don't look at your iPad before you go to bed. What do they say, like half hour to 45 minutes before you
Yeah.
go to sleep? Don't watch TV. And I know that's tough because a lot of us relax, or we think we're relaxing. We get in front of the TV, and that's how we chill out for the day, right? But the blue wavelength. This is why iPhones have that sleep. No, what's it called? Oh, I can't remember. Nocturnal mode or something like that. Nighttime mode, night shift or whatever, where it tries to eliminate all the blue wavelengths out of the screen, and your screen looks really yellow. It cools the temperature of the backlight of the display, so everything looks very yellow.
Or warms the temperature.
Warms,
rather.
or thank you. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant. Warms the temperature, drops it at like 3,000 Kelvin or something like that, as opposed to the normal 55 or 5,000 Kelvin, which is like that bluish white light that we like when we're working in the shop. Like we're in the shop right now, and Thomas has like, I don't know, when we were buying, there's like 5,000 Kelvin bulbs, right, or something. I think those ones are. Anyway, those lights are great for when you're working, staying alert, good color rendition, good all that stuff.
Well,
But
that early light, that's the same color light that comes through when the sun rises.
That's right,
We are designed to be stimulated by that wavelength.
that's right. So you looking at that crap before you're going to sleep messes you up. It's no good.
Just looking at it in general messes you up.
Well, that too, but yeah, I mean, it literally keeps you awake. That's one of the, if you've ever if you have kids or little cousins or something like that, or niece or nephew, whatever, and you watch them stay up really late, like it's past their bedtime, they usually go to bed early, but if they're sitting there watching their iPad, they will stay awake a lot longer. It's easier. It keeps your brain stimulated just by looking at that light. It's awesome, I guess, if you need it. It's it could be worse. It could be caffeine, but that light will wake you up. So try not to do that before bed. That could be could be the problem why you can't fall asleep naturally if you're having.
Turn off your
such a
computer. Turn off your TV.
Yep.
Don't look at your phone.
Yep. Eliminate background noises unless you're the type that likes to fall asleep to white noise. Some people that really helps.
I dig listening to music when I go to bed.
I cannot do that. And Joe likes to watch the TV too.
Dude,
I
I
know
can
he's-
sleep anywhere, anytime.
I can't. I have to like
Try
shut that
me.
crap off and like I need silence. Dude.
Yeah, well, living in the city now too.
That
you
helps.
know, at first I was kind of like, oh, I don't know about this, but now I can like open all the windows and I can sleep
Yeah.
in the front of the TV for like a whole weekend. Netflix, it's just I just wake up when it says, "Are you still watching?" It's, yes. Go back to sleep.
Guy kills
Rinse and
seasons. Seasons are killed. He doesn't even know what the show's about.
Nope.
Nice.
I don't know what else you guys got. I got a couple more. Glenn, you got something?
Well,
I know-
I got a lot of things, but
Well, one we had talked about was, and I don't know how much we want to go into it, but when you and I were talking about yesterday, have sex. And that sounds funny to have to tell people, but some people, they get involved in, they're in the same relationship for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, whatever. You get in routine, you got kids, you guys,
it's so important.
you forget that, again, feeding the primitive drives of humanity. It's just, you got to exercise, you got to eat right, you have to fuck. It's just something.
And if you're in a relationship, you need to have that.
That's
to
a bonding-
maintain
yes.
that connection.
Yeah, that's a
If
bonding
you
thing, too.
don't, that's how things fall apart.
Yeah. Now, obviously, that's kind of like the sleep thing. I mean, sometimes we go through our dry spells, and believe me, we all know it. I'm on one now, and okay, so that's not always something you can control, but then you focus on other things, and yeah, that. But anyway, it's something that you should have in the back of your mind. Let's see, what else did I have here? We had already gone about that, and yeah, I mean that's. If nobody's got anything else, I wanted to
Well-
end it with a.
Well, I'll just say one thing. You know, what everybody should do more often.
What's that?
Call your mom.
Call your mom. Your family, man. If unless you got some really messed up family that you just cannot repair the relationship with, I had that included in the social. I was going to mention that with Be More Social. Feed the relationships, man. Family is definitely a very important, relationships and social interaction that you should keep alive. All
If
right.
it's not a toxic environment.
That's why I started that. As long as it's something you can repair. Some situations are just we understand. We've all got those too. But if you can, do it. So I found this meme the other day when I started thinking about this topic, and I kind of wanted to leave us on that because I thought it was kind of funny, and memes are part of our culture these days. So anyway, it's a doctor talking to a patient. The patient goes to the doctor, says, "Doctor, I don't feel well, and I'm not sure why." And the doctor says, "I want you to meditate for 20 minutes twice a day, exercise for at least 30 minutes a day, avoid processed foods, eat plenty of organic fruits and vegetables, spend more time in nature and less indoors, stop worrying about things you can't control, and ditch your TV. Come back in 3 weeks and tell me how you feel." On that note, we hope you guys enjoyed that. We hope, if nothing else, we just gave you a little bit of a reminder of what you already knew, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you for listening. Show notes and other info can be found at our website, greatdistraction.com. The Great Distraction is listed in iTunes, and we greatly appreciate it when our listeners take the time to look us up and leave us a 5-star rating and review. That helps our show grow and motivates us to continue producing content. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do so using the email address, greatdistractionpodcast@gmail.com, or via our website. We're always interested in hearing any thoughts, comments, or questions from our listeners. Keeping up on the latest from us can be done in several different ways. You can add us to your favorite RSS feed tracker. The link is available on our website or in iTunes. Or you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Great Distraction, one word, no space. As always, thank you for listening, and thank you for all the support.